All right. If you haven't done so, please make sure you put your first and last name on your packet. Today's date is the 25th. Let me slide this out the way. The assignments for this week are as follows. We have our warm up that's due. We have our homework that is due. Our quiz at the end of the week. Well, actually, before we do that, there's systems of equation word problems that system word problems. That's going to be an assignment. We have our quiz. Our quiz this week is on systems of equations. We do have tutoring, virtual tutoring this week. It's going to be Wednesday at 3 p.m. If you can't make that time, you need another time, please text me and remind, and we can come up with something different. Bless you, babe. Today we're doing the warm-up. I'm going to continue to work on the substitution method. I'm going to do some examples on that, and then we're going to move right into elimination. We're just going to do simple elimination today of adding and subtracting. We're going to do multiplying elimination tomorrow. Okay, which it needs to be broken into 2 days just because one is more difficult than the other. Yes. Yeah. Your homework. And please, you need to go ahead. If you haven't started already, you need to review your notes. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Keep in the back of your mind that everything is due by June the 3rd. That's the last day for everything. So you need to keep that in the back of your mind. Okay? If you haven't started working on already, please make sure that you go ahead and start working on already lessons. You need 3, and it's by, I forgot what day I put on there. It's May, the second weekend. Second, yeah, it's the second. So please start working on already lessons. All right. Let's go open up our planner. Were you still copying? Are you okay? Okay. I'm going to write our stuff down in pen. Please, at the top, you need to make sure this is where I start taking off points. Please make sure that you write the date. This week, the date is going to be from April the 25th through April the 29th. This is Q4, week 4. You make this look more like a 4. Please make sure that you put that on both sides. This is what I look for. Now let's date Monday through Friday. If you want to do Saturday and Sunday, that's fine. But the date for Monday is the 25th. So we put 4/25. Tuesday is 4/26. Wednesday is 4/27. Thursday is 4/28. And Friday is 4/29. Monday, Math 1, homework. You can start working on already if you haven't already started. Review notes. Major things for this week. Math 1 tutoring is Wednesday. Virtual tutoring is at 3 p.m. If you're in the building at that time, you can always come to the class. And then Friday, of course, Math 1 is when you submit your work. You also have a quiz this week, and your quiz is going to be on systems. Okay, I'm going to pause to give you a chance to write. All right. Anybody still copying? You are. Okay. Let me stop. Okay. All right. So let's look at our warm up. I'm going to give you a few minutes to try that on your own, please. Please don't wait for me. Try and get as much of it done as you possibly can. Okay. Pause to give you time. All right. So let's look at it and see what we have so far. Okay. So the first problem, guys. If you didn't get any of this right, you need to make sure that you're listening because you will have problems. You will see problems like this again. That's why I put them in the warm up. The warm up is super duper important. All right, because your test questions are going to be similar to what you see. Okay. All right. So the very first one, it says a place kicker can kick a football off the ground. Okay, so off the ground. So you already know when you kick a football in the air, it's going to be a U shape. That's what you need to keep in mind. If it's from the ground, the starting amount is going to be 0. So your C is going to be 0 here because that's your y-intercept. It's kicking from off the ground. It's going to be 0. Then it says with an upward velocity of 60 feet per second. So this is your rate of change. That's your B value. So far we know C is 0. That's my starting. Your initial value, your rate of change that is being kicked in the air is at 60 feet per second. And so then it says right to represent it's this gravity problem. So since it's a gravity problem and this is going to be a negative number, what negative number is that going to be for a problem like this? Yes, -16. It's -16. Okay. So now from this you can write an equation. You have y, but they want you to use h. Okay. So we have h, which is y, is equal to what? -16x squared. -16x squared plus 60 plus 1. Mm-mm. Oh, 60x. 60x, okay, plus 0. You said 1, but it's plus 0. It's lifting off the ground. So this is our answer here. And instead of x being the time, they want you to use t. So this is -16 t squared plus 60 t. Any questions about how we got this as the equation? And of course, you can put plus 0, but you don't need to. Any questions? Yes, baby.
Why is it always -16? I don't know.
That's your gravity part of the problem.
Oh.
Okay. It's going to default to -16 unless they tell you otherwise. Okay. Any questions? All right. Okay, so let's look at problem 2. From problem 1, determine the time in seconds. T is seconds. That's T. Okay. When the ball hits the ground. So we want to know this measurement over here. We want to know what this is. We know where it starts. It starts at 0. We want to know this value right here. This is x is equal to 0. We need to know what this is. This x-intercept root. It's called x-intercept, a root, or zeros. We want to know what that is. So we can type this in the calculator to figure out when does it hit the ground. Okay. All right. Where do I go to type in an equation? Let me clear it first. 2 plus 7, 1, 2. Okay, so now where do I go in order to type an equation, Peyton? Y equals. Very good. Okay, so let's type this in. Negative 16 x squared plus 60 x. Okay, and we don't have to put plus 0. Yes, babe.
When it says it should be an exact number, but it doesn't go up and then down to 0.
Say again. It says what now?
It said the answer should be an exact number, but
Yeah, it's going to be an exact number.
whenever I put it on there, it didn't.
Well, let's finish typing it in and see what we come up with, because I hadn't seen it yet. All right. So after we type it in, where do you go after that to see where it hit the ground? Second what? Second graph. Okay. So we can look at the table. All right. So now this is where it hit the ground here. So somewhere in here is where it hit the ground. So let's go look. Exact number. We can't see it from the table, right? So now we need to graph it. All right, so this is where it's hitting. It's starting here. If you need to see more of that, then you need to zoom it in a little bit. Go to window, negative 10. I can zoom that in a little bit, negative 5. I don't need all that space. Okay, and then this needs to go up more. Let's go up to, let's try 50 and see what it do. But from negative 10 to 50 is a long way. So we need to go up increments. Let's try increments of 5. I don't know. We're just testing it out. Make sure that your numbers look like mine. And we might have to go back and adjust. That's just the part of it, okay? So now graph to see. Okay? That looks a little bit better because it's closer. So you can kind of see what you're working with. Even though you can't see the top. If you want to see the top, then go up a little bit more. Maybe 60. That might do it. Okay, and it does. All right. So now it looks a little bit better. You can see the parabola. Any questions about how I'm kind of like playing with the window to get it to fit? All right, so now we need to figure out this amount, and they want an exact answer. Okay, so they want you to get as close to the answer as you possibly can. What can I do to find this value right here? Peyton, you want to try it?
Yeah, you do second trace.
You do second and trace. Very good start.
You go to 0.
You go to 0. Okay, and we're going to do this side over here, right? Mm-hmm. So you're going to go down closer. We're going to do close to the line. We got the left side on top of the line. Enter. And then a little bit below the line. And this will below because you see how it's at negative 1 point something. Press enter there. And then press enter one more time. If you get an arrow, then that means you see how it's exact. Mm-hmm. That's what they meant by that. So this is going to be 3 point what? It's going to be in 3.75 seconds. So you kind of answered your own question. Yeah. Okay. So here it's going to be, X is going to be exactly 3.75 seconds. Any questions about how we got this as the answer? Now, Sammy, we went through this and you didn't pay attention to anything that we did, okay? All right, come on. I need you to do a little bit better than that. All right, so now we're going to graph this. We can look at this now since it's factored and say where it crosses the x-axis. It crosses in 2 places. This tells us it crosses the x-axis where? If I set this equal to 0, what do I get here? I get 4 because I subtract this. This gives me negative x, negative 4, and divide by negative. So it crosses at 4, somebody said. Good. So what does this tell me that it crossed at? 2. What kind of 2 is that? Negative 2. Because if I set this equal to 0, it's going to be negative 2. So it crosses at negative 2 and crosses at 1, 2, 3, positive 4. Any questions about that? Now, some people are going to multiply to get the equation. You don't have to multiply this back out to get the equation. You can type it in just the way it is to save yourself trouble. So let's go to the calculator and type it in just like this. And the calculator will do the work for you. Okay. You can use the FOIL method, FOIL, to figure out what the equation is. You can do that. Or you can just type it in the way it is. So let's go and put the parentheses in. Parentheses 4 minus x, close the parentheses, open parentheses, x plus 4. Please make sure that you're paying attention because you're going to see this again. You're going to see problems like this again. You just are. So now I'm going to graph this. My window range is different. So let me fix that. Let me put this back. Negative 10, 10, 1, negative 10, 10, 1. I'm going to just put it back, and I might have to adjust it, but I'm going to just put it back the way it normally is supposed to be. Now I'm going to graph it and see what I get. I may have to adjust the window. I don't know. And I don't. This looks pretty good. Okay? Any questions about this? So now if I need the ordered pairs, and you can see how it's crossing at negative 2 here and positive 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to go to the table and graph my ordered pairs. Okay, so I got 0 and 8. So I'm going to, this is 0 and go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I have 1 and 9 over 1 and up to 9. Okay, and then I have, and or I can figure out what this point is and just trace it, because this is the point that we really need. Where do I go to figure out what this highest point is? Yes.
You have the second trace.
Second and trace, and then where do I go from there?
4 for the maximum.
4 for the maximum. Yeah. And now I'm gonna do left side, right side. This is the left side, enter, and then I'm gonna do the right side, enter over here. And press enter again. And that ordered pair is going to be 1 and 9, which is what I got already, which was 1 and 9. So now I can just do like this. I'm sketching it because I know at least where the top part is. Okay, it's not exact, but it gives me about what it is. Any questions about how I did that? You will have to be able to do that on your own. Ms. Reyes, how would I be able to do this without the calculator at all? This is what you do without the calculator. Let me use the back part of this piece of paper. The first thing that you do is you're going to use the FOIL method to multiply this, okay? All right, so I'm going to put this x term first. So this is going to be negative x here, and it's going to be plus 4. You see what Ms. Reyes did before she started multiplying? Okay, any questions about that part? So now you're going to do FOIL, FOIL. First, it's going to give you a negative x squared. Outer is going to give you a negative 4x. Inner is going to give you a positive 4x. And last is going to give you a what? 16. Any questions about this part? So this is going to be negative x squared. It's a downward parabola, which it is downward. Okay. And this is going to cancel out. And you have plus 16. Any questions about that? So now you create a function table. Okay. And you create a function table. So what you do, you have your x values, you have your y values, and you put this in the middle. And you come up with these. You put your 0 in. Oops. And so you substitute and figure out. All you're doing is substituting the numbers. And then you graph it. Any questions, comments, or concerns about that? So if you have to do it on paper, that's what you do. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and put this in a safe place, please, and take out your notebook. Please take out the systems substitution method from last week. so we can work on practicing this a little bit more and then go to elimination. Yes, baby. Yeah, go ahead. No bathroom. Leave the door open. And wait a minute, let me give you the right path because I'm not supposed to let you go at this time. We're just going to get down, okay? Everybody got this sheet here? Remember, fifth period is no bathroom break, okay? It's third. Well, some teachers do third. I do third. Some teachers do not do third. But they're supposed to give you a bathroom break in fourth period and sixth period. Okay? Fourth period and sixth period. All right, this is the sheet that you should have out. Only reason why I do third is because some elective teachers don't let you go. All right, so we're on page 12. Okay, you should have already completed 1, 2, 3. We did those together. So now let's do number 4. And then I'm going to have you do some of these on your own. Okay. I think I asked you, but I forgot. How did we feel about the substitution method? Did we think it was easy, hard, in the middle? What do we think? Raise your hand if you thought it was easy. Anybody? Oh, a couple people. Raise your hand if you thought it was hard. Well, you wasn't here, so that's understandable. Nobody thought so. We think it's in the middle. All right. So as we practice more, maybe it'll become easier. But it is more steps. So maybe that's the part why you're thinking that it's a little bit more difficult because it's a lot of steps. All right. So we have negative 3x minus 3y is equal to 3. And remember, I'm getting the problems from the worksheet. Okay. The second equation is y is equal to a negative 5x minus 17. Please write that down. Come on, Cooper. Where's your notebook? Do you need paper? Don't forget to make sure you save your pages and stuff, okay? So you can have it to turn in for your notebook, right? Yes, sir. This is page 12. The name of this page, Dalton, this is the name of it. It's substitution method. And we did problems 1, 2, and 3, okay? All right, here we go. All right, first things first, Dalton, you wasn't here when we did this, okay? So try to focus on what we're doing. Automatically assume that they cross. So you need to figure out, you're going to use algebra to figure out where they cross. You need an X and a Y coordinate, okay? Automatically assume that. Sit up, baby, sit up. All right, so look, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to isolate one of the variables, whether it's X or Y. Well, y is already isolated. Y is on the side by itself. This is what y is equal to. Any questions about that? First step, isolate one of the variables. Now I'm going to rewrite the other equation, which is negative 3x minus 3y is equal to 3. And I'm going to substitute this in the place of y. Why am I doing that, Ms. Reyes? I'm doing that because I can't solve both x and y at the same time in the same equation and get one answer. Okay? So now I'm going to replace y with this expression. So this gives me a negative 3x minus 3. I'm going to replace this y with this expression. So that's going to be times a negative 5x minus 17. Bring everything else down. Any questions about what I did there? Please write that down. All right, so let's look. All right, after I substitute this in the place of y, now I'm going to use distributive property to solve for x. X is the variable that is missing. So I'm going to multiply -3 times both numbers in the parentheses. So this gives me a -3x. When I multiply a -3 times a -5x, what does that give me?
15x.
Positive 15x. Okay, very good. When I multiply, and if you need to use your calc, type it in. Please do that at this time so you're not behind. So when you multiply a negative, don't forget to choose the -3, times, what's this? A -17. What does that give you?
51.
Any questions about that? Bring down the equal sign, bring down the 3. Now we're going to combine like terms. What terms can we combine here? Yes.
-3x and 15x.
Very good. When we combine these like terms, what do we get?
12x.
12x. Bring everything else down. Now what are we going to do to get x by itself? What do we have to get rid of next? Anybody? Minus the 51. Good job. So we say, look, you got 3 already there. Minus 51. What does that give you? Negative what number?
48.
Negative 48. Okay. This is gone, right? And we're left with 12x on this side. Oh, I didn't know you didn't have a pencil. You okay? Okay, gotcha. All right. What do we do after that? Divide both sides by 12. So this gives me x is equal to a -4. So my x coordinate where they cross is -4. This is a method that we use. Instead of graphing them both, we can use this method, okay? So now, what do you think we can do to figure out what the y coordinate is? Yes.
You substitute the x into the other equation.
Very good. You can substitute the x into either equation and you get the same answer, okay? Which equation do you feel like is going to be the easiest to use, though?
The second.
The second one, me too. Yeah, that one's easier. Please use the easier equation for you, okay? You can use either one. Just use the easiest one for you. Now let's replace x with the -4. So this is going to be y is equal to -5 times -4 minus the 17. Okay, so this is going to give me a positive what here?
Positive 20.
Positive 20 minus 17, which is what? 3. So this is where it crosses. If you were to graph these two lines, it would cross in this place. So this is going to be the solution here. If it crosses in this place, I'm going to make a description. If it crosses at all, it's going to be consistent because it crosses in at least one place. Because it crossed in exactly one place, what other vocabulary word can I use? Consistent and what else? It is one solution, that's true, but what else is it? Go back and look at your, let me see, what page was that on? Oh, it was on the page where we did the notes when I was absent. What is that? Consistent. If it's consistent, it can only be two things. It's either independent or dependent. Which one do you think this one is? Independent or dependent? It's independent because it's one place. Dependent means the lines are on top of each other. They're depending on each other. This is consistent and independent. All right, I want you to try number 5 on your own. I want you to try number 5 on your own. I'm going to pause for the calls. Know what at least one of the coordinates. Which coordinate do they already give us?
The Y.
They give us the Y. What's the Y? So all you're doing is figuring out which one is the X. That's what you're doing. Most kids take advanced functions because they do better with equations and stuff. They take advanced functions and that they do fine because that we've covered functions. You just have a few other functions that we've never covered or seen. So a lot of students take advanced functions. That appears to be easier for students. I don't know if that helps. All right, so let's substitute. We're going to replace y with -2. So we have -2 in the place of y. So this is 4x minus 3 times -2. Okay? So now we're solving for just the x. So this is going to give us 4x. A negative times a negative is a positive, and we put 6 here. How many people got this line right? Okay, good. So now what do we do to get x by itself?
Subtract 6.
We're going to subtract 6 on both sides. Sorry, y'all. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. When we subtract 6 here, this gives us 4x is equal to what number?
12.
12. We divide by what? And x is what?
3.
3. How many people got that right? Okay, good. This is your solution. And again, this is consistent because they cross. And it only crosses in one place, so it's also what? Independent. All right, so now I need you to, let's try the following. Let's do 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Those are the ones that you're doing. Please do those in your notebook. Questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, baby. All the way through 10. Anybody else? All right, let's do those, please.